Benny Blanco from the Bronx, Carbon White. I am right back with another football preview. Yes, this preview is for the English Premier League. I know last week things happened the way they did, and we ended up having results as we got them. Yeah, of course. There are usually predictions that I make once in a while. Not once in a while, often they'll be a miss. One or two of the games would be spot on, but that's the nature of sports. So even as we are looking into match week 6, there's a lot to play for still. And I don't know, this very early in the season, we are talking about a lot being there to play for, considering that there are teams that have already lost, there are teams that are absolutely cruising, and we are looking to see how things pan out as the league continues. So just to mention a few things even before we get into the preview of each match, but most likely we will dwell a little bit more on the big ones. But as it stands right now on the table, Liverpool are still perfect. 5 out of 5 wins, 15 points. Arsenal are second, 1 draw, 1 loss, but 3 wins with 10 points. Tottenham Hotspur are third with 10 points as well. Same kind of results with Arsenal, but Arsenal having a superior goal difference than anyone else in the league. So that's 8, Liverpool 6, Tottenham 7. Bournemouth are 4th with a 1 goal difference, and again with 10 points. And closing off the top 5 is Crystal Palace with 9 points. Just 2 wins, but 3 draws. No loss yet for them. And then if you're looking at those European places, Chelsea finish 6th, are 6th right now with 1 loss, 2 draws, and 2 wins with 8 points. And then now, when you look at the bottom 3, if the league is supposed to end today and teams are going to be relegated, Aston Villa, shockingly, are 18th with 3 points, no win, 3 draws, 2 losses. West Ham United, 1 win and 4 losses. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, 0 wins, 0 draws, but 5 losses. So that's as far as the league stands as it is right now. Last week we had huge clashes. The Merseyside derby, which Liverpool ended up winning. We had Chelsea against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Manchester United taking the day. Of course, Chelsea receiving a red card, but later on also Manchester United receiving one as the game progressed. Manchester City against Arsenal, I predicted an Arsenal easy win, but Manchester City came out with a point, so it ended up on a 1-1 draw. Yeah, so those were the big ones that we could mention at the time. So heading into this weekend fixtures, the early kickoff, of course, on this wonderful Saturday is Brentford hosting Manchester United. Now, Manchester United have this weird, can we call it weird? This statistic that they have in this year, is it even this year? Like ever since Amorim came, they haven't won 2 games back to back. Yeah, so it's either they win the next game, they either lose or draw, but they're not picking maximum points. And then I don't know so far how many matches they have won, but maybe looking at the way they are playing, and especially against the big teams, they're really pushing themselves to do well. It's against these smaller teams, ideally, when you look at it really in terms of performance that they are not doing quite well, and Brentford away would be a tricky one. But of course, considering that Manchester United has reinvigorated their team and taken a Brentford player in Mbeumo, they have Mateus Cunha within their ranks, so their attack should be well off to see off Brentford. But Brentford is one of those teams that can really pull a surprise out of the bag. So teams like Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, and Crystal Palace have that tendency, and of probably even Nottingham Forest, judging by last season. But this season, you never know. So Manchester United head into this with Mateus Cunha back from injury. We don't know what Amorim will decide to do, whether he plays Sesko or not. But you'd really be wise to be backing Manchester United, but you wouldn't be surprised if they lose. Yeah, so I am looking at a 1-0 United win. And then Chelsea host Brighton and Hove Albion at Stamford Bridge. Of course, coming off a win in the Carabao Cup. Of course, the last time out they lost to Manchester United. Previously, they lost to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So heading into the Carabao Cup, they seemed a bit lackluster, and of course they just won narrowly against Lincoln. And with this, if they would have lost, I think this game would have been a bit tricky for them. So at least they picked up a win on the road. So here they are hosting Brighton and Hove Albion. Again, the way I was mentioning in a previous preview, play the best players in the best positions. So you don't have any business seeing a person like Chris James playing out in the midfield. So if you have a backline of Kokorea, you have who? You have Chris James, and then you have Tosin and Chaloba as centre-back pairings. Of course, I don't rate that pairing as such, but of course now when you're having Reece James and Kokorea at the back, you're bolstering that defense, and you're looking at getting the best result out of this. So yeah, of course you'd be backing Chelsea for this one, but Brighton and Hove Albion, they already beat Manchester City in this season so far. They seem to be losing key players and finding a way out, yeah, to rejuvenate themselves. So for example, João Pedro came from Brighton and Hove Albion and went to Chelsea, and then also you have Caicedo, who also went there. Kokorea was also one from Brighton. So yeah, it's seeming like a feeder club to Chelsea. So how do I look at this one? I am looking at a 1-1 draw, just because Chelsea have not been impressive. Nothing much, no hatred whatsoever, but because also Brighton can pull something off the bag. Crystal Palace host Liverpool. First of all, off the jump, Liverpool win. Sad to say. But of course, I am wishing for a Crystal Palace win. Whether it's a draw or Crystal Palace come with maximum points, the thing is, Liverpool are shaky. They are winning, yes, but they are also leaking at the back. So I am kind of looking at it in terms of one day they will concede, and then probably the team that they play against will not be able to allow them to score in the dying minutes. Is it Crystal Palace? Of course, they are looking to bolster their defense. Probably in January, they wanted Mark Guehi in their ranks, but Crystal Palace pulled the plug, and they couldn't allow Mark Guehi and Eze to leave within the same window. So they needed to give the coach something to work with. So probably Guehi will have his time and go to Liverpool at some point. To me, he is the best English centre-back currently. So him with Liverpool seems like a succession plan for Virgil van Dijk. Now, Leone got injured in the Carabao Cup, so there are not so many options in defense if anything goes wrong. We are not wishing injury upon anyone, but it was sad to see Leone get injured. And then one person who will be missing in this matchup will be Hugo Ekitike, who got red carded, of course receiving 2 yellow cards. And he eventually, the second yellow was a bit clumsy from him because he removed his shirt in celebration, which I don't know. And I hear from the Liverpool side that they are going to dock him 2 weeks worth of salary or wages as a fine, or I don't know, whatever term they'd like to call it. So I wouldn't play with this one as wishful thinking or predicting with my heart, but with my mind. So I'm looking at a 2-1 Liverpool win. And then some of those other matches that will be on will be Leeds against Bournemouth, which I'm looking at Bournemouth coming out with a point. So probably it would be a 1-1. And then Nottingham Forest hosting Sunderland. Sunderland have been a revelation this time. So probably because Nottingham Forest are hosting, I wouldn't go so big. So I'm looking at a Sunderland 1-0. And then Tottenham host Wolverhampton Wanderers. For this one, Tottenham are good. Yeah, forget about last season. This season they have started well. Thomas Frank has been cooking very well, and he's mixing things up. He's not just adamant on the high line as Ange Postecoglou was, but for this one he knows when to defend and when to go on transition. He knows when to possess the ball, which team to do that against. Yeah, and for this one, Tottenham 2-0. And then Manchester City. Actually, Manchester City was earlier, and they are hosting Burnley. If you hadn't triple captained Haaland, this is your time to do so. This is when Haaland comes to life, and he might do a madness, and then we will remember, oh, Haaland really does exist as probably the best striker in the world. Currently, people are just thinking about Isak, but when it comes to scoring, Haaland knows the art of scoring, and he knows where the net is. So that's for Saturday. And then on Sunday we have 2 matches. Aston Villa against Fulham. Now, ordinarily, and especially if it was last season, for this game I would have predicted an Aston Villa win. But they are now in relegation form. Yeah, they're actually among the bottom 3. Fulham are an exciting team. If for a neutral, if you're watching football without any bias, you'd say Fulham are really, really good. So for me, in this case, I'd be looking at a Fulham 1-0 away to Aston Villa. And then the big one for the weekend is Newcastle hosting Arsenal. Now, last season what happened? We met them around 4 times. Yeah. In the Carabao Cup twice, we didn't even lay a glove on them. They just beat us. We didn't find any way to beat them. They just beat us convincingly. In the first leg, they won 1-0, albeit controversially, but again, we didn't manage to lay a glove on them again. So they usually like find a way of beating Arsenal, and especially at St. James's Park. Right now they are missing Alexander Isak. Maybe it's time for us to see if their new striker will cook, especially against Arsenal. But they haven't started really well, so you're hoping that the Arsenal game isn't the game that they bounce back. Yeah. So for me, of course, not because they have started badly, I wouldn't say that Arsenal will go there and do a madness. So probably I would predict a 1-0 Arsenal win for this one. And for Arsenal, of course, you know, I don't know if Odegaard is back. If he's back, he'd probably figure in the squad. You don't know what kind of team a man like Mikel Arteta will go with. So probably for most fans, we do not want a midfield of Merino, Zubimendi and Rice. So probably for Merino, he could come in as an option, as a striking option for Victor Gyökeres. So for me, I'd say probably you start off with Eze, with Martin Zubimendi at the pivot, and then you also have a man like Declan Rice as the left 8, yeah. And then off the left, you start with Martinelli, and then off the right, of course, Bukayo Saka. And if you want him a bit rested, you can bring in Max Dorman in the second half. Yeah, so I am looking at a 1-0 Arsenal win away to Newcastle. And of course, I'm being ambitious with this one. And then Monday Night Football is Everton hosting West Ham. Now, Everton are a good team. Of course, we expected them to lose against Liverpool, but they always show that they can really turn up for this one, for the Merseyside derby. So I don't know, probably in the second leg, they'd probably, if the title race is neck to neck, it's one of those teams that you would be looking at to ruin the party for Liverpool. But for this case, against West Ham, of course, West Ham have only won one match, but they have lost the rest. They are a bit in trouble. They are in the bottom 3. They could be really one of the teams that's a good shout for them to be relegated. So you're looking at, for me, Grealish has been cooking that Everton team, and especially with David Moyes, he always seemed to be doing well with Everton. So I'm looking at Everton 2-0 Everton win. Yeah, 2-0 Everton. Yeah, so that's my prediction for the English Premier League. I don't know what yours is. Probably with time, when the table forms and people are up in their paces, you'll probably be more confident. Probably after match week 10, you're like, yeah, I already know how this team performs. So you'll be better placed to make bold predictions. Yeah, within the first few matches, it's a tosser, but of course, getting into game week 6, you wouldn't say that it's just the first few matches. Yeah, the league is up and running, and it's only a matter of time now for us to know who are the clear front runners. Of course, we expect Liverpool to be above everyone else, so we are just looking for the one who is going to chase Liverpool up. So currently, everyone is predicting Arsenal, but Arsenal is in the mix with everyone else. Of course, when you're looking at the 3 other teams that are following up with Liverpool. So currently, when you look at the top scorers, number 1, of course, Erling Haaland with 6 goals for Manchester City. Hugo Ekitike, Jadon Anton Semenyo, Wilson Isido, Victor Gyökeres, and Richarlison all have 3, so they are joint second. And then we have Chris Wood, Igor Thiago, and Moises Caicedo with 2 as well. When it comes to assists, Jack Grealish has 4, El Hadj Malik Diouf has 3, João Pedro, Mohamed Kudus all have 3, and then you have Granit Xhaka, Ricardo Calafiori, Anton Semenyo, Tijani Reinders, Jeremy Doku, and Cody Gakpo or Gakpo have 2 each. When it comes to total passes, Elliot Anderson, Nottingham Forest, Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool, that's 417, 389, Trevor Chalobah, Tosin Adarabioyo, Joachim Anderson, Moises Caicedo, Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero, Emmanuel Agbadu, and Lewis Dunk. So usually for passes, you'd expect defenders and midfielders, or probably holding midfielders, to be having more of those. In terms of clean sheets, Nick Pope has 4 for Newcastle, Georgi Petrovic, Guillermo Vicario, Dean Henderson, David Raya, all have 3, and then Robin Ruiff, Robert Sanchez, surprisingly, surprise, and Lucas Perry, Alisson Becker, and Jordan Pickford all have 2. Yeah, in terms of team goals, Liverpool have 11, Chelsea 10, Spurs 10, Arsenal 10, City 9, Brentford 6, Bournemouth 6, Sunderland 6, Fulham and Brighton all at 6. Yeah, so I think for the moment, that's how things stand in the English Premier League heading into match week 6. I don't know what your predictions are. Put them in the comment section. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video to your people so that we also grow together. Yeah, so I think that's all we have for this video. Until next time, bye bye.